Hey folks, welcome to the amazing FBA and 10K Collective Podcast's new profit maximization series. So today we're going to talk about repricing as a way to improve your profits. And I believe it's very, very underused. I'm looking for in this series relatively easy wins because we all have very difficult time in e-commerce these days as it is. And products are very expensive, and of course renegotiating with your suppliers and dealing with freight is a really critical part of your expenses and improving your profit. But for this series I'm going to focus on things you can do pretty much immediately that will have an immediate impact on your cash flow and your profits. So let's get into this. Amazon repricing is the act of changing the sales price of Amazon products multiple times a day or a week. And a common aim, and the one that I'm focusing on here, is to maximize the profit you make over a given period, say per month, per quarter, per year. And that's what this whole series is about, maximizing your profits on Amazon. Amazon repricing matters a lot because rigid pricing has a lot of bad side effects. Here are a few. So if you price too high, first of all, you're going to run out of stock more quickly. If you price too low, I should say. Let me try that again. If you price too low on Amazon, you are going to run out of stock as well. I've just realized, by the way, that I failed to record the podcast. So I'm going to start again. Sorry, folks. Hey folks, Amazon repricing is what we are talking about today on the 10K Collective podcast. Amazon repricing is part of making the most money you can from the stock you have. And I think in recessionary or slowdown times and when stock is getting more expensive, it's absolutely critical to run lean and mean. And it's amazing what you can achieve if you put several things into place as systematic ways of improving your operations, and pricing is one of those things. So let's get to it. Amazon repricing. First of all, what is repricing? It's the act of changing the sales price of your Amazon products multiple times in a week or a month, possibly per day. And the common aim, and the one that I'm focused on here, is to maximize the profit you make over a given period. Why this matters? Well, first of all, most sellers, the vast majority in my experience, even of mid-6 and mid-7 figure sellers, the ones that I work with in a mastermind, the main focus of my work these days, have rigid pricing on their products. Now, probably they will start off with a lower price when they launch with aggressive ad spend and then lower, gradually increase the price. A lot of people will do that traditional kind of launch. That's fine. So I'm not talking about the launch period, okay? I'm talking about the period when you've launched a product and it is somewhat profitable. How profitable? That's what we're here to look at. So if you underprice your products, particularly by assuming a very dangerous assumption that you have to match the price of your competitors, especially if they're bringing their prices down, there are several really terrible effects. Number one, you're going to run out of stock more quickly. And if you've got your best selling products and you reduce the price too much to match your competition, that's meaningless if you run out of stock, isn't it? Because your price, your profit rather, and your revenue goes to zero as soon as you're out of stock. So that's the first thing, going out of stock, which is as a side effect of, or a second order effect of incorrect pricing, is actually the biggest profit killer and the biggest sales killer, because no stock, no revenue, profits, no profits as well. Second effect is, of course, you have zero cash flow. And the zero cash flow means that you can't do other things like go and order the next batch of stock, for example. The third thing is slow moving stock. It's actually, if you're overpricing it, then you got... The third thing is overpricing your stock just generally means that you are leaving money on the table. The third thing, I'm sorry, let me try this again. The third thing is that if you underprice your stock, you're leaving profit on the table, possibly a lot of profit. If your profit margin is, say, 20% and you're selling a product for $20 and you are making $4 profit, and you could be selling it for up to $22 by testing the pricing, that means you're leaving half of your potential profit on the table, and $2. So it's really, really important to get this right. Effective pricing too high. Number one, low sales velocity. That ties up a lot of cash, so your products sit around. Number two, you lower your ranking. Your visibility goes down, and that lowers your sales as well. Number three, you can lose the buy box to your competition if you raise your price too quickly. And yes, you can lose the buy box if you're a private label seller. That's not just for resellers. Um, the other thing, of course, is that you can end up with the uh, inbound stock limits that we so hate, particularly around Q4, so Christmas time. And that's a peak season nightmare if you just cannot ship enough products in. And so many of my mastermind members had that problem in 2021 and 2020 at Christmas time. So lots of bad things happen when you get your pricing wrong. So changing pricing can drive big profits, and we've talked about that previously, but the specific thing I want to talk about today is repricing. In other words, changing your price quite frequently. So there are three main options. Option one is manual repricing. This is pretty labor intensive, as the name implies. One mastermind member is pretty good at getting the maximum out of their products, and they actually employed a full-time member of staff to do their repricing now. They had over 2,000 product lines, so they had a big job on their hands, but nevertheless, a full-time member of staff is an expensive and difficult way of doing it. And apart from the expense, it means you can only practically reprice products, say, once a week with a large catalog. With a small catalog, you can do practical daily adjustments, but not more than daily. Once a day would be your maximum. And if you have a small business and a small catalog, then it's going to be just you probably, or you and a VA, and you're going to just be too busy to do it, which is why most people don't do it at all. Humans also have a bad habit of changing prices rather abruptly in substantial amounts. Now, to be fair to us humans, that's partly because of the low frequency of changes. So if you change your price once a week, then you might have to adjust quite quickly in the current environment. And of course, you might make big change in one go, but that is actually very unwise. And the reason why is because Amazon's algorithm can remove the buy box from even private label sellers if you repeatedly move your price anything more than about 2%. So for a $20 product, that means that you increase the price even over 25 cents 2 or 3 days in a row, that could actually trigger losing the buy box. And by the way, if you're not familiar with that, or you've been lucky enough not to lose the buy box, that means about 80% of your sales go like that, because most Amazon buyers, most shoppers, consumers use the buy box to buy stuff. They don't see the buy box, they just click away. So manual repricing, expensive, labor intensive, or if it's not expensive because you're doing it yourself, it is expensive, but it's opportunity cost. It doesn't look like it's costing you money, but it is, because you're doing something with your time that means you can't be doing something more valuable with your time, like creating your next product or launching your next product line or launching in a new marketplace, any of which are much better, more impactful uses of your time than fiddling around manually repricing. So that's option one, manual. The second repricing option is using a rules-based repricer. There are many of those out there. Those are a traditional thing that retail arbitrageurs often use because they have to play a much more intensive price battle. And as private label sellers, we've been pretty lazy about pricing. Now, the good news is it's not manual, so you're not doing something that a computer can do on your behalf. But automated systems are one thing, but rules-based is another. If you put things on rules, what often happens is that you will win the buy box, which is important, but you'll make sales but not much profit, or sometimes lose profits at all. And the trouble with those that's also very bad is that it does not account for your stock level in that product. So if you're about to run out of stock, it's insane to price for maximum sales velocity, because that means you get out of stock quicker, right? It doesn't make sense. So really what you need is a system that integrates repricing and stock levels. Those are two sides of the same coin. They're really important, and there are very few tools out there that do that properly, and that is one of the issues that we've had. So the third option is using machine learning or artificial intelligence-led repricing systems. It's got to work for private labeling, which means you have to be able to compare your products and set them up in a system to compare with your 4 or 5 or 6 biggest competitor products. But it also needs to be set up for your own goals, for maximizing for profit rather than just winning the buy box, or in this case, not winning the buy box, but winning the sale. Not at all costs. It has to be set up to maximize profit. So you need a system that will work on that basis. It needs to reprice in tiny steps so it doesn't annoy Amazon or start price wars or lose the buy box. It needs to be not rules-based, but learn from experience. If you set a certain profit aim, it will adjust over time. And the cost of this is less than hiring a person by a large margin, or the opportunity cost of you personally doing this if you're a solopreneur or in a very small team. So the psychology of pricing is subtle, but we're talking about outsourcing this to a machine. Well, how come a machine can do a job that implies human psychology? The psychology of pricing is pretty deep. Well, rules-based systems are a little bit too primitive for that. It's true, but an artificial intelligence machine will learn from experience. So it doesn't necessarily understand humans, but from human behavior, it will adjust to what works. That's the best way of putting it. And we're all familiar with algorithms. I mean, Amazon's algorithm is not another human, but it does it understand humans at some deep level? I don't know, discuss. What does understand mean? That's a kind of philosophical or psychological question. But it knows how to present humans with relevant offers and relevant results for searches, right? And that just in the same way, a repricing engine knows how to adjust the pricing for maximum profit if that's what you set it for. This requires a sophisticated machine, and the best one I know for sure, in fact, the only one I know of that can really handle private label pricing is Eva. Eva.guru is the place, and if you head over to Eva using the following link, you'll see I've got a coupon code over there. I'm happy to get you a large discount on your first month's subscription. That's amazingfba.com/repricer. If you don't see the coupon code there, just email me, michael@amazingfba.com. That's michael@amazingfba.com, and I can help you make sure you get the maximum discount you can. That's the only right tool for repricing that I think is an easy win. Manual repricing is a hard win. It's not an easy, quick way of getting profits. And as I said at the beginning, getting easy wins is what I'm after, getting you easy wins. So in the mastermind, I've seen both approaches. People do manual repricing. In one case, I think they've stopped that now. I think they're using Eva, and I've seen other people use Eva and get really good results from that. In fact, the increase in profits can be kind of startlingly large when you combine correctly pricing and pricing not only for profit but to stay in stock, which is really critical. So the fact that Eva integrates stock control and repricing for me means it's a no-brainer. But whatever system you use, even you use somebody else out there that I haven't heard of, I've done a pretty thorough search on this recently, by the way. I've been really deep diving into repricers and stock control systems. But if you find a better one out there, great, let me know about it. But the point is, the system needs to be genuine machine learning, integrate repricing and stock control. Or you do that manually, maybe for a bit, just to understand. Sooner or later, I think it's the sort of thing that a machine, if it's really properly set up, should do more efficiently than a human, because you should probably be using your brain or your staff's brains for more creative work than that. Computers are good at things that are susceptible to algorithms in the end, whereas humans are good at creative work. So I think we should stick to our creative stuff, in my opinion. That's in the broader sense also how you're going to maximize profit. I mean, developing products that are suitable for the real deep needs of a particular type of consumer, that is the work that you should be focusing on, in my opinion, if you really want to grow your business. That is really, in the end, why I suggest using tools if you have appropriate tools, if they do the job. Now, profit maximization is a hard sell, because been looking at the keyword research for this recently. A lot of people look for, how do I make more money on Amazon? If you're lucky, how do I make money on Amazon? That's something that people who are just starting out ask. Well, that's a reasonable question if you don't know anything about Amazon. This is not who I'm speaking to today. If you don't have an Amazon business, then I'm not speaking to you, really. I'm not, be offended by that, but I'm speaking to you if you have a business, if you're making revenue and you're not getting to keep enough of it. That's profit maximization. Now, a lot of people who sell on Amazon aren't even really sure where to start with that. They know they could be making more money, but they just don't know where their biggest opportunity or biggest loser is as well. Where the big hole in the bucket is that they need to plug first. So we've created a special assessment to help you understand that. And that's actually taken me quite a few months of work. So we put a lot of energy and thought into this. So I think it's pretty accurate, but it's designed to be taken in about 2 minutes. So just go to amazonprofitquiz.com if you want to get a diagnosis of exactly where you're, the biggest hole in the bucket that you need to plug first, or the biggest and quickest wins that you can make in terms of increasing the amount of money you make and get to keep from your Amazon business. Just to let you know about the broader picture here with this series, we've had the first episode was about an overview of profit maximization as a whole. The last episode, episode 2, was about Amazon pricing strategy in general. Upcoming, we're going to talk about stock control, why it matters, how to achieve it manually, and we'll also talk again about how you might want to use systems to do that. Then we'll talk about profit measuring, getting numbers to make informed decisions. Then we'll talk about reimbursements as a nice, easy win, how to get money back out of Amazon. Then we've got Amazon ads and how to cut waste from that. That's a very big cost to a lot of us at the moment. After that, we'll talk about branding and making sure your conversion rate is as optimized as possible. Really important. And then last but not least, we'll talk about your business model as a whole, which is a slightly harder to grasp topic, but really, really important, because if you don't understand the business model or operating, you're going to try and get things out of it that it's not really built for. So yeah, understanding the vehicle you're driving, if you will, is really, really important as well. So that's all coming up, and it has just one aim, which is to help maximize your Amazon profits, or to protect what profits you have in the coming economic storms. So if you want to be kept in the loop, by the way, about any of this stuff, honestly, the best thing, if you want to join the right list for getting the right kind of precisely tailored information for you personally, I just think you should go to the Amazon Profit Quiz. So amazonprofitquiz.com. Take the Amazon Profit Quiz. That's my best advice. So that's it for me. I will join you soon. Obviously, we'll have our usual run of interviews with guests, but for me personally, I'll be joining you soon to talk through profit maximization as in general, and specifically stock control or inventory management or replenishment predictions, forecasting, to really nail that down. Thank you very much for listening. As ever, if you enjoy the show, don't forget to subscribe to it on all podcasts near you. It's just called 10K Collective Podcast, or listen to it on YouTube or watch it on YouTube or wherever you want. We're on all the socials really these days, and we're also on Callin app. So if you want to check out Callin, that's CALLIN. Only available for iOS at the moment. That is iPhones. It's a place where I hope that over future we'll get a slightly more interactive way of doing things as well. But for the moment, it's just going to be me broadcasting. Over in the future, the idea of it is it's a little bit like mini kind of chat room. I can't remember. There's a similar app, but I can't remember what it's called. Name escapes me. But it's sort of social podcasting really. And so if you want to join us there, I'll be delighted to sort of bring you on stage to ask any questions you have. So thanks so much for listening, wherever you're listening, and speak to you soon. Happy hunting.